Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to cover the new Stabbermatic. This is a new weapon in DLC 3. My one is only chaotic, but that's all it needs. Because this gun is quite bonkers I don't know why they added this in the game. So, on my new Chaos 50 character, just gonna do a Chaos Shimmer run and just break down why this gun, it's, Face Puncher 2, is ridiculous in this particular game, whilst also kind of showing off, essentially, Punchbot 2.0, if you remember Punchbot, my Face Puncher build in Borderlands 3. So basically, this gun, it shoots melee damage. So it's a gun when you fire it, and then it's melee when the shots hit. And this is Chaos 50 gameplay, by the way, and it feels just like 30. It's a little on the dumb side. And that's because this is less of a melee swinger's weapon and more of a spellcaster's weapon. Because a melee swinger's weapon's going to want to be swinging their weapon, and the Stabbermatic doesn't really give you anything to help that. It just kind of lets you shoot from afar, which is great. And all melee has to offer it is... all melee has to offer is melee damage, but a spellcaster has a lot more. If you stack spell damage and equip a spellblade, all of your spell boosts apply to your melee damage as conditional damage at a 1-to-1. Then you can have magic bullets, which is going to apply all to your spell damage, to your weapons damage output. That's a barrel exploding, nice. To your weapons damage output at about 3-to-1ish, it's about 37% at 3 out of 3. And then if you equip the Warp Paradigm, that takes your spell damage and puts it into just raw melee damage at 35%. So that is spell damage applying to this weapon 3 different ways. 3 different ways. So it's not just like one boost boosting it once, it's one boost boosting it 3 times over. And, well, when you do that, you get lots of damage. I'm currently able, on Chaos 50, able to kill Phase 2 Drill before Drill can even throw a spear. Because that's another strength of this weapon. A lot of guns, they're kind of balanced by the fact of, like, inaccuracy or slow bullets or limited range, like the Sword Explosion or Luddites. Not this one. You just kind of shoot across the map and things just die. Using Trix's Ice Spike to kill the Buffworms there. So another thing is how ridiculous this is with the Buffmeister. So remember how I mentioned how strong spell damage scales with this weapon? Well, a Buffmeister nowadays can give you 120% spell damage, 120% melee damage, a bonus element that is worth the entire weapon's weight again. This weapon's about 248 damage, and you can definitely surpass that with a Buffmeister, and that bonus element applies to each pellet, month 1 BL2B style, which is very, very strong. So you're going to be doubling the damage just on the bonus element alone, and then, 90% movement speed, which is always nice. But the Buffmeister doesn't have good uptime. Unless you use this weapon again, because there is an enchant in the game. When you get a melee kill, you get a spell charge back. Let's say you're on a 2-charge Buffmeister. That enchant, I have it on me right now. There it is, that one, right there. You get infinite uptime with the Buffmeister and all those bonuses. So what you're watching right now could be doing about 3.5-4 times the damage and have double the movement speed. And that just be all the time. And the final thing, which I'm doing right now, is, you may notice, I don't really need to reload. That's because I'm using the Universal Soldier. When you deal melee damage, you have a chance to completely refill your magazine. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I'm still reloading a lot for the purpose of spellweaving. Spellweaving is very important. Because spell damage is applying, essentially, 3 times over, as 3 different multipliers, if you don't have any spell weaving, you kind of notice it, and the damage drops off quite a bit with this setup. So that's why I'm really aggressively reloading. And just to, oh joy, Cyclopses. Just to make sure I stay at my max of 11 stacks, since I'm using a high thread count armor piece. Spell Berserker. Which of course is primary spell power. Good for more spell weaving power. Even though it just kind of got nerfed, didn't really get nerfed by much. So yeah, Gearbox has done a really good job with balancing this game for the most part, and yet Buffmeister Pixies have never really been touched, and we've just gotten this. I don't really know why. Like, what's the point of adding a new highest difficulty in Chaos 50 when you're just going to add this? This makes it feel like Chaos 20. Why? What's the point? I overall quite like Chaos 50. It's a really, really good challenge outside of those three powerful things that I just mentioned. It's a lot of fun. But then you have something like this, which almost just invalidates it. Like, what's the point of having 50 levels if you're just going to keep power creeping and make it feel like the first 20 over and over? Oh well, that's just my thoughts on it. If you like ridiculously powerful cross-map range shotgun that's fully automatic with infinite ammo. Not infinite reserves, infinite mag. But I've not really had a problem with reserves yet, even with this fire rate. I'm kind of hoping I get Drill as a boss, to be honest, just so I can just so I can show it. Drill's the, you know, one of the tankiest bosses you can get. Dragon Lord wouldn't be too bad as well. That'd be a good showcase of the Stabbermatic's power. It should be called the Spell-O-Matic, really. It should be called the Spell. Chums! Aw, not a good showcase. I'll fast travel to Drill's map after this. Oh, this is Phase 4 Chums, it is. I'm going to show you a trick with Phase 4 Chums, actually. So you don't actually have to aim at Chums, you just aim below them. Entire thing's a hitbox. It allows you to melee him, although meleeing Phase 4 Chums is a nightmare and a half. Like most of the mirror bosses, actually. Phase 4 Chums isn't very meleeable. Imelda is not an enjoyable experience. 708, that's alright. My level 49 run to unlock 50 was 601. That's the Solissa run. It's kind of bonkers. So yeah, that's Stabbermatic. The rest of my gear: Livewire, Circo for spell weaving stack, Spellblade, a couple of spell damage with melee passive rings, Warp Paradigm. This one's area damage. Spell crit chance doesn't really do anything for me here. It's just kind of for the all damage. But high thread count, spell power, involatile, and Warp Paradigm, all good stuff. And then the more fire rate. Now, worth mentioning that the gun damage on Universal Soldier here does not apply, because it's calculated on hit, and by the time the shots of this weapon hits, it is no longer gun damage, it is melee damage. So that gun damage isn't applying, it is pure, this amulet is purely here for the spell power and the special effect. In terms of passives, double all damage would be best, but beggars can't be choosers. Ice Spike, of course, Empowering Sigil is also great fun as well. And then the skills, I've got High Thread, and then it's just kind of a mess on Stabbo. Stabbo's tree is just kind of weird right now with the Contagion nerf. I've got 2 points in Potent Poisons. You can go 5 and then 2 in Arsenal. Arsenal's not great of a skill, but considering spell damage is triple applying, a bit of melee damage as well. Nimble Fingers is great, fire rate spell damage. And then Alchemical Agents is very strong, because every single crit that we do, including the From the Shadows ones, that's going to apply a double-dipping dart, which is pretty good, especially even though Contagion is no longer infinitely reapplying, it does still kill enemies, I notice, so max strength, max dex, most in wisdom. So it is still somewhat value, I do notice, with the dot spreading. And then Myth rank, I self-cap at 20 in the uncapped nodes, and that was on Intense. So yep, that's just This weapon is bonkers. It's only chaotic as well. This thing could be so much stronger. It could be like 80% better if I get it in Ascended. And that terrifies me. And then it could be another several times better if I use a Buffmeister. Gearbox, why? Anyway, thank you so very, very much for watching. Wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay awesome. I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.